We have the pre-seeds for the World Team Trials coming up this Friday and Saturday live on FloWrestling. This is going to set up Final X. The winners here head to Final X for opportunity to make Team USA the world team and represent USA at the World Championships in September. But going to go over the pre-seeds, going to talk about the brackets because very likely there's not going to be a lot of changes in these pre-seeds to the seeds to how they wind up in the brackets. So we're going to talk about the early round matchups and just how these seeds played out. And starting with 65 kilograms, this is one of the most discussed weight classes. You got Jesse Mendez. The big news here in these pre-seeds, no Nick Lee. He registered for this, but withdrew for whatever reason, not competing here. So he was in many ways the favorite to win this weight class. Now with him out, the top seed Jesse Mendez looks like the favorite to me, but it's going to be a tough path. No matter how you slice it for whoever it is, they're going to be a lot of tough guys because that's all there is in this bracket. And if you look at the early round matchup, 8 seed Marcus Blaze versus number 9 Carter Young. Winner there is going to get Jesse Mendez, and on paper, Marcus Blaze is that favorite to take out Carter Young and face Jesse Mendez. Of course, a little personal here. These two trained together a ton at the Ohio Regional Training Center. No more now that Marcus is headed to Penn State. So I'm certain Jesse Mendez would be excited for that potential matchup. And a little bit of a surprise here. Brock Hardy gets the 2 seed. Of course, he's a good freestyler, made U23 World Teams, brought home some hardware there. But we haven't seen him on the senior level much. But his NCAA credentials, I think, enabled him to get the number 2 seed. And he'll likely have, and as if seeds hold, he'll have Seth Gross in the first round. That's a really fun matchup. 2 of the scrambliest guys in any bracket potentially squaring off early on. So that's going to be a great one. The 3-6, Bo Bassett versus Bo Bartlett. Funny name combination there and an interesting wrestling match. You got the machine gun mindset versus Bo Bartlett, the positional master. A very, very tough challenge here for Bo Bassett, truly. I think opening up someone like Bo Bartlett is going to be a challenge for him and probably an exciting one for Bo Bassett. And you wonder, through Bo's time training at the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, did those two ever face one another? I don't know the answer to that, but would be excited to see it. And then Aiden Valencia versus Real Woods squaring off again. We've seen this match before. It's the last 2. Aiden Valencia won them at the U.S. Open, but Real Woods had the lead late in those. And so then as you look to the next round, the semis, Jesse Mendez versus Aiden or Real Woods. I think it might be Real Woods this time. Real was so close 2 times. It's hard to beat the same guy 3 times in a row. I think Jesse Mendez versus Real Woods is a great semifinal. And then on the other side, Brock Hardy versus Seth Gross. I don't know who wins that one. Or probably on paper, it's Brock Hardy versus Bo Bartlett is the most likely matchup there. But someone like Seth Gross and Bo Bassett pulling an upset shouldn't surprise anyone. So it looks like Jesse Mendez should make the finals, could make the finals. I don't know. But facing someone like Aiden Valencia or Real Woods would actually be probably my pick, but there's so many coin flip matches here. Predicting this bracket is going to be really, really tough. So that's 65 kilograms. Going to be an amazing, amazing weight class, and I can't wait to see who's facing Joey McKenna at Final X. Now I'll scroll down here to 70 kilograms. James Green, obviously he's a 7-time world teamer. Your top seed, 2nd seed PJ Duke. No surprises there. Parker, Luan, Andonian, Lovett, Antrell Taylor, Caleb Henson, Brayton Lee, rounding that out. So round 1 match will be Caleb Henson versus Brayton Lee. Winner gets James Green. James can be a pretty big favorite there. PJ Duke versus Antrell Taylor. Man, I think for PJ that's a tough matchup, right? Because I think Antrell, physically really strong guy, good position. I think it's a tight match, but certainly winnable for high school phenom PJ Duke. You look at the 3 versus 6 matchup, Ian Parker versus Ridge Lovett. Ridge is someone I think could make a lot of noise here. Is he ready to run a gauntlet? I'm not certain of that. I wouldn't predict that. But I think he could definitely beat Ian Parker and make a run to the semis, if not beyond. But I'm excited to see how he looks up at 70. Is that the best weight for him? I don't know. He wrestled. He's a beast at 149. This is 154 and a half. These guys are going to be bigger. How does Ridge manage that? That's going to be a big question going into it for Ridge Lovett. The 4-5, Will Luan versus Bryce Andonian. And then that would be the quarterfinal bouts. And then you're looking at James Green versus Will Luan or Bryce Andonian. He's going to be a pretty big favorite there. should he get by Caleb Henson. And then for PJ Duke, he's going to be facing, should he get by Antrell Taylor, he'll probably take on Ian Parker or Ridge Lovett. Two really interesting matchups there. But it feels like PJ Duke will be able to navigate that and get that number 1 James Green versus number 2 PJ Duke matchup. That's what it is on paper. They don't do it on paper, but it's a fair guess to think both these guys could navigate that and make it to the final in a 2 out of 3 not a 2 out of 3, in a finals match that people will be really excited about. Winner here gets Yanni Diakomahalis, and for PJ Duke, it's got to be, I don't know if it's odd for him, but this guy's from New York. Yanni is just New York royalty, and as is PJ, but PJ for sure had been watching Yanni go up through the years, and now that he could be a competitor of his, would be really exciting to see in a matchup I think a lot of people want to watch. But for right now, it's still James Green's weight until proven otherwise. And then we move on up to 74 kilograms, where you got Carr, Monday, JQs, Caliendo, Bearclaw, Hall, and Blaze rounding out. Just 7 entries here, so you're starting in the quarterfinal matches. David Carr will have a bye, and he will face in the semis, he'll face the Caliendo Bearclaw winner. Carr's a big favorite here. Caliendo and Carr have squared off, and it's been all Carr. And Bearclaw has gotten a lot better, but still, to beat Caliendo and David Carr, probably a long shot. So the top side feels pretty certain at this point. Now, down below, Quincy Monday versus Joey Blaze. Blaze wrestling really well right now, but Monday is a super good freestyler. A lot of ways to win. Really good attacker, really good defense. That's going to be a tough matchup for Joey Blaze. And then the 3-6, Jake Hughes versus Peyton Hall. Hall still trying to learn the nuances of freestyle. That's what he was talking about at the U.S. Open. As he learned enough, as he picked up the nuances, we'll see. But it feels like Jake Hughes will get that done. But Quincy Monday would be my pick to make that final. I think we see a Carr Monday legacy matchup again for a spot in Final X. And I think Carr is once again the favorite there. But Quincy Monday, I think, is not getting enough love, respect, whatever you want to call it, in this bracket. And I think it's not a big leap to see Quincy Monday winning at the World Team Trials at 74 kilograms. I just think that highly of him. As we go to 79, we've been hyping this potential rematch up of Levi Haynes, Dean Hamady, and they seeded Haynes, Hamady, Simon Ruiz, Harchla, McBride, Monday, and Ethan Riddle. Another 7-man bracket. This one's starting in the quarters as well. Levi with a bye to the semifinals. He'll get the winner of Harchla versus McBride. Favor Harchla in that matchup. So a Harchla versus Levi Haynes match. They had a really interesting NCAA dual meet where it looked like Carson was maybe going to win the match. He had the takedown, and then he took a bad shot. Levi capitalized on it, got the reattack, and was able to get the win over Carson at a crazy duel at Ohio State. So freestyle is probably Carson's better style, but is he better enough to withstand the pressure of Levi Haynes and his emerging freestyle skill? I don't know about that. And then down below, Hamady would have Kennedy Monday, round 1. That's going to be an exciting matchup. Kennedy Monday, very dangerous scorer. And then Simon Ruiz versus, actually I read that wrong. It'll be Hamady versus Ethan Riddle. Kennedy Monday will be taking on Simon Ruiz, who is someone that I've been really impressed by, Simon Ruiz. But on paper and in reality, I think this is Dean Hamady coming out of the bottom side, and we're going to get that Levi Haynes versus DJ Hamady rematch. They wrestled in the NCAA semis. Now they can wrestle in the World Team Trials for a spot in Final X. So very, very exciting matchup. I think Levi's the favorite there. Maybe the transitive doesn't work, but he pinned Wick. Wick beat Hamady. You could say the Wick win is ancient history. I find it relevant. But we'll see. We'll find out Friday and Saturday at the World Team Trials. That's when they all go down. Then you got 86, even smaller bracket, just a 5-man bracket. But boy, this one is loaded. Dake, Marsteller, Starachi, Kekheis, and Coleman. Similar thing. Kyle is in the semis. He'll get the winner of Parker Kekheis and Marcus Coleman. We likely see Dake versus Kekheis in rematch. That was all Dake last time, and that would be my expectation this time. And then you look down below, Chance Marsteller versus Carter Starachi. I think they've got a history, right? And I talked about this previously. Chance won the last one. I think Chance does present a lot of problems for both Carter and potentially Kyle Dake. Now, can Chance keep Carter off his legs? Can he get in and finish? Can he avoid the amazing pressure from Carter Starachi and the reattacks of Carter Starachi? Those will be the questions in that match. But I think Chance is the favorite there. And I think, like I said with Quincy Monday, I think Chance is someone maybe you give a little more of a shot. Now, he could go down to Carter Starachi immediately, and then the deal's done. But should he make that finals, I think he is going to be a real challenge for Kyle Dake. And I'd be excited to see that matchup. I'd love to see Dake versus Starachi, but it seems like Marcel or Dake is more likely, but maybe that's more of a 55-45 proposition. So not a strong favorite, but a favorite not the same, all the same. 86 kilograms. I can't wait for this one. I can't wait to see the Kyle Dake return to form. Everything framed around who can knock off potentially Zahid Valencia, who's already won the U.S. Open. He already beat Kyle Dake. He's sitting in Final X. He's got that advantage. And can anyone in this field potentially knock off Zahid Valencia? That's the question everyone's asking. Then you go to 92 kilograms. No Jacob Cardenas. He registered. I thought we'd see him. He's out. So that changes those seeds. There's only 5 at 92 kilograms. Josh Barr, Aiden Sinclair, Mike Mock, Dustin Plott, and Patrick Brophy rounding out that top 5. Plott versus Brophy to get it started. Winner gets Josh Barr. I think Barr is a favorite there. I think he makes the final here. You got Aiden Sinclair versus Mike Mock. This was a tight match at the U.S. Open. On the one hand, you would say, man, Aiden Sinclair, can he really win that way again? But on the other hand, Aiden Sinclair is a young, up-and-coming talent who's getting better every time out. Could it be that it looks a little bit better for Aiden the next time? Now that he has a little more information, understands the field that Mike Mock gives, it could be an opportunity for Aiden to widen the gap. I'm intrigued to see that. But either way, Josh Barr probably the favorite here. Then again, if it's Josh Barr, Aiden Sinclair, those two are 2-2 against one another. And I think that would be a very, very compelling matchup. But I think the odds-on favorite right now is Penn State's Josh Barr, the NCAA finalist. I think has a great chance to make it to Final X. And it's going to be an exciting final, no matter who he faces, whether it's Mike Mock or Aiden Sinclair. I think this is going to be a great one. And of course, Dustin Plott, he's going to have his say as well here at this bracket. Fun bracket, even though it's small. Then you go to 97. The big change here, Hayden Zillmer makes the drop down to 97 kilograms. And of course, that's not by coincidence. The news about Kyle Snyder and the questions around his participation in Final X after his legal trouble is certainly influencing this move, as it is with the 3 seed Justin Rademacher, right? Rademacher was not going to enter this tournament period. And then after the news dropped, he said, well, man, maybe I could make the world team at 97 kilograms. That's why Hayden Zillmer is wrestling at 97. That's why Justin Rademacher is here, because of the questions. And we don't know what Kyle Snyder's future holds. We don't know if he's going to wrestle in Final X. We don't know if he can wrestle in Final X. And that doubt has had 2 really elite wrestlers flock to this weight class. And so you got Zillmer, Aiello, Rademacher, Eric Schultz, Gavin Hoffman, Christian Knopp, Ethan Laird, rounding this one out. So the 7-2, Aiello versus Laird. Aiello is one of the more slept-on guys in USA Wrestling right now. Really good. It's got a win over world champion Ike Mukan. Very dangerous wrestler. The 3-6, Rademacher versus Knopp. Rademacher, big favorite there. The 4-5, Schultz versus Hoffman. You favor Schultz there. I think Zillmer is a pretty sizable favorite here. This guy made a world team at heavyweight. He's always an undersized heavyweight. 97's probably always been his weight class, but Kyle Snyder's there. And he's not beating Kyle Snyder. But now you look at this field, and I think Hayden Zillmer can not only, he doesn't necessarily have to even win in Final X, right? We don't know. We just don't know what the future is going to hold there. But it's another opportunity for Hayden Zillmer to make a world team. And it would seem like on paper he may be the guy to do so. But Justin Rademacher is a guy we're going to be talking about more and more. And you're watching this, you probably know who this is. We've been talking about Justin. But your friends that watch wrestling that maybe don't follow it like you, over the next year or so, I think Justin is going to be a name that more and more people know. So keep your eye out for how Justin performs, not only here, but next year for Oregon State at 197. And then you look at heavyweight, which no longer has Hayden Zillmer in it. 5-man bracket: Demetrius Thomas, Trent Hilger, Jordan Wood, Christian Lance, Lucas Stoddard, for the opportunity to face Wyatt Hendrickson at Final X. Certainly one of the biggest favorites in any Final X of any wrestler currently sitting in Final X is Wyatt Hendrickson. You'll have Lance for Stoddard. Winner gets Demetrius Thomas, who really had a breakout performance at the U.S. Open. Trent Hilger versus Jordan Wood. I would not count out Jordan Wood out of the 3 seed as a guy that could beat Hilger and then potentially take out Demetrius Thomas. So that is the field. Here's the quick and dirty on when it goes down. It starts Friday at 10 a.m. You can watch these preliminary rounds. The semis go down Friday as well. And then the finals Saturday afternoon. Going to be a 2 intense, exciting days of wrestling. Historic days where you're going to see, legacies on the line. You have someone like Kyle Dake trying to make it back to the world stage at a weight class he's never represented America in, right? You have all these young up-and-comers at 65 trying to make a name for themselves at the senior level. And then you have someone like PJ Duke trying to unseat a USA legend in PJ Duke and face Yanni Diakomahalis. It's just going to be an amazing, amazing 2 days of wrestling. Thank you for watching this. If you're in Louisville, come say hey. If not, hope you're watching online. I'll see you there. I'm going. I can't wait. I leave tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.